Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cryptid's Combo Corner. Today I'll be taking ChatterGaak into the Penny Dreadful Season 38 Kickoff. This deck consists of basically two parts. The first part is mono green, the second part is Golgari. The first part is very general purpose. We've got 8 Satyr Wayfinders, which can mill over a Hogaak and give you enough cards and enough creatures to just cast it. We also have Nature's Rhythm, which lets you pay 4 mana and tap a creature you control to go fetch something from your deck. It also has a front half, but that doesn't come up too often unless you're comboing. So what we can do is we can go turn 2 Wayfinder, turn 3 Wayfinder Hogaak, turn 4 Harmonize, tap the Hogaak, find a Terastodon, blow up all our opponent's lands, win the game. Easy. So that's the powerful shell that'll show up in a couple places over the season, I suspect. I'm certainly going to be brewing with it a lot. The second half of the deck, which I'm currently inserting into the shell, is the Warren Soultrader Chatterfang Squirrel General combo. The way this works is Chatterfang makes an extra squirrel whenever you make a token. Soultrader sacrifices a squirrel to make a treasure. So for the cost of 1 life, you make a squirrel, lose a squirrel, make a treasure, get to keep the treasure. This gives you a miniature channel effect with colored mana so that you can find something like Bhed Salvagers, which drains your opponent when things die. To tie the combo pieces together, we also have Chthonian Nightmare, which can bring back either of these by sacrificing a Wayfinder, or if you are missing a payoff, you can pay 2 life to recycle a Town Greeter if you have a Nightmare in play. We also have Shilgengar, Sire, Famine here, which, when paired with Chatterfang, makes infinite blood tokens, which then lets you pay 3 mana to reanimate your entire graveyard. And then, of course, if you have a Town Greeter or a couple Town Greeters in your graveyard, you'll mill more cards, so you can pay 3 more mana to reanimate all the cards that you just milled. So that is ChatterGaak, the deck. A lot of moving parts here. You'll get to see him in the Penny Dreadful Season 38 Kickoff. Let's head to the games. Alright, here we are for round 1. This hand has a few more lands than I would like, but I think we'll keep it on the basis that we'll mill something good for the Chthonian Nightmare. We also have Argoth as our flood insurance. Blue-green, that's usually posts. Okay, this is also a good draw, depending on what our opponent is doing. 3/3 first strike, Death Touch, draws a card. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea what my opponent is doing. Nope, not casting Nightmare, casting a Wayfinder. Do we take the land here? Yeah, I think it's fine. So the consideration there is if we leave the extra land in the yard, we might be able to Hogaak with fewer creatures in play, but I think it'll be okay. So next turn, we probably just play this 3/3 first strike Death Touch. Oh. Or we could also play a Squirrel Fang in anticipation of comboing, but I think next turn we're going to be playing 2 Chthonian Nightmares and trying to mill over a Soultrader. So while I would love to play this Glissa, I think the Chatterfang is going to be more important. White mana? What if opponent is cooking? Oh, wait, is this time save? Am I about to get got by infinite turns? Ah! Exciting! My god, Penny Dreadful is so sweet. What is the white for? Oh, or we could just draw a Soultrader. Yeah, I guess that also works. Sorry, opponent. But my combo deck made its land drops. Okay, so here's the real-time demonstration of the combo. Soultrader makes a treasure. Because we're making a treasure token, we're also making a squirrel, which we then feed back into the Soultrader. Then, once we have enough mana, we can cast this Nature's Rhythm X3 to find a Blood Artist, at which point our opponent dies. Oh, opponents on Rally the Ancestors. That is also sweet. Okay, so based on what we saw, what do we want to bring in? I'm not super scared, to be honest. They probably have some amount of graveyard hate, but our main deck, Scrapshooters, will be okay with dealing with that. Kind of want some removal spells, maybe just the Doomblades. If I had Revoker, I don't know what I would tutor. Like, I could potentially tutor Time Thief, but I don't think that's really what I want to be doing here. I'm not really sure what opponent is doing, other than that they're playing creatures that they want to have live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave a Nightmare, and I'm going to shave a Hogaak for 2 Doomblades. I don't think it's necessary. This is really just a hedge. Okay, here we are for game 2. Do we keep this hand? We've got a bunch of expensive stuff and only 2 lands. We do have a removal spell. I think with the removal spell, we keep this. I would much rather have this be a Wayfinder, but you know, beggars and choosers and all that. Okay, this hand is immediately much better. We get a Fanatic of Rhonas. This means that if we draw a Wayfinder on our next 2 turns, then we get to Doomblade something and find our land drop. And even if we don't, we've got the... perfect. Even if we don't, we have the 3-drop to play. This, however, is scary enough that I will probably be playing the Town Grader and casting Doomblade on our next turn. Like, they go Academy Manufacturer here, and yeah. This is a fun card. I mean, it also depends on what we draw, right? Like, it's if we naturally draw land, then I think it's still worth it to find a land for next turn, because... Okay. So here's a situation where it might be better to not pick up this Argoth, because we want to cast Gaak next turn, and we can do that by playing like Soultrader, exile 4 cards. Oh, but there's going to be a Doomblade in the yard also, so I think this is fine. I'm going to get Twilight Mire instead of the Mana Sink, because we want to be able to cast Nature's Rhythm. I think the Llanowar is scarier. I don't know, it's close. Manufacturer could also be scarier. But Llanowar is both a token generator and a payoff, so... Oh, I guess one downside for picking up... yeah, okay. One downside for picking up the land here is if I hadn't picked up the land, I would be able to go, like, Soultrader Hogaak, and then use the Fanatic plus the Filter Land to cast the Sunslayer. Okay, opponent has played a Wheel of Sun and Moon. That does shut off our graveyard stuff until we play this Glissa Sunslayer. So it does not actually shut off our graveyard stuff, but it is kind of funny. Okay, I think we gotta prioritize getting this Terastodon down. What's the best way to do that? Notably, the Warren Soultrader does not care about Wheel of Sun and Moon because the Warren Soultrader does token stuff. Basically, the question that I am trying to answer for myself here is, do I want to exile this Fanatic of Rhonas to cast the Hogaak? And I think the answer is yes. So here's a Glissa. The Glissa should be able to clear the Wheel of Sun and Moon next turn. I guess the Terastodon should also be able to clear the Wheel of Sun and Moon next turn, but ideally we want to save that one for just murdering all of their lands. Oh, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Oh no. I am genuinely terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. What? Okay, well, we're probably not killing their lands next turn because they just have so many treasures that it doesn't matter. Okay, so what does this do again? Well, it's a good thing the Terastodon's in our hand, otherwise they might be able to get it themselves. Dear Lord. Okay, I might have to try this build next, because this is nuts. And, notably, Soultrader makes treasure tokens. Alright, what'd they get? Like Fanatic of Rhonas, I guess? Okay, not quite sure what's happening here, but my opponent has about 30 permanents in play. The treasures are going to be able to make mana, the clues can draw cards. So opponent has 1,000,000 mana and 5 cards in hand, which means that I kind of need to find a Squirrel soon. Otherwise, I think they will just beat me up with their combo. That's not a Squirrel. Okay, well, for starters, let's get in. If this Glissa connects, I'm probably drawing a card because we don't have a reason to kill the Sun and Moon yet. And of course, it's probably not connecting just because... Yeah, okay, so they chump with my Satyr Wayfinder. Rude. Alright, so now we also have the question here of... Do I Terastodon their stuff or my stuff? They are at 10 life. All of their creatures make 3 mana and 3 clue tokens and a bunch of food. So on board they can gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can gain 15 life on board, so I don't think Terastodon is the plan. Also, Terastodon not very good at mana denial here. So I think what I'm going to do is just cast a Warren Soultrader, prepare for the combo next turn. If we draw it, and then this way, next turn, if we draw the Squirrel or if we draw Nature's Rhythm, we can go Terastodon into Terastodon to blow up the wheel into whatever else we want. Okay, so Sam means that their foods turn into cards. I'm feeling pretty dead here, but we'll see. Gonna let the opponent pop off. I want to see what their win condition is. It'd be really funny if it was just like Laboratory Maniac. Opponent may be missing the fact that they can get back like a Tireless Tracker from the yard with their Sam. Phyrexian Revoker on Warren Soultrader. That's rude. Okay, well, while opponent is popping off, let's take a look at what we want to do post-board. I think we just bring in all the other removal spells, like... Do I help the opponent out? I kind of want to help the opponent out. Let's just make sure that, yeah. Like, I think if they just loop Llanowar, then that gets them infinite everything, right? Like, they sacrifice the foods, they pick up the Llanowar, they use 2 treasures to play the Llanowar, they get 1,000,000 treasures, 1,000,000 foods, 1,000,000 clues. Okay, so I could let my opponent play it out, but basically what they're going to do is they're going to generate infinite everything, right? And then they're going to play a Time Sieve, and their Time Sieve is going to eat 5 random artifacts to take extra turns and attack me until I'm dead. And in the meantime, they're generating a bunch of clues, and in the meantime of that, the Llanowar is going to steal creatures from my deck so that they can actually attack for the win. Now, there is a limitation here in that this is Magic Online. If they get too many tokens, the game will crash. Not a problem in paper, but also keeping track of this in paper, I think, would be even more of a nightmare. So I am happy to be doing this in a place where I don't have to count the number of food tokens my opponent has. Anyways, I could just let it play out, at which point my opponent would potentially time out, but it's an awesome deck. Okay, so for sideboarding, I think my instinct of bringing in the Doomblades was good. I think I did not do enough of that. So I think they showed us Wheel of Sun and Moon, which means I'll cut another Nightmare and honestly, Terastodon not great. Like, they've got... Their hate cards are artifacts and enchantments, but they are also creatures. Like, they have these Phyrexian Revokers. I might want to bring in the Fume Spitter, actually, just as a way to kill Bop, as a way to kill Phyrexian Revoker on a stick that we can tutor with Nature's Rhythm. What are we cutting? Grist is so good at killing hate pieces, but only if there isn't a Wheel of Sun and Moon in play, so I think we cut the Grist. I think we can shave a Town Greeter, because Town Greeter doesn't actually get you a card when a Wheel of Sun and Moon is in play. And my guess is opponent is going to be mulliganing pretty aggressively for Wheel of Sun and Moon or a heavy combo hand. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of removal spells now to deal with the heavy combo hand. This hand's great. Keep. We're going to go like turn 2 Wayfinder or removal spell, depending on how scary their play is, into turn 3 Glissa, and then just take over the game. Okay. Playing a Bop. We don't have that many removal spells in the deck. Also, this Glissa is just gonna take over if it lands uncontested. I kind of want to just pass with Doomblade up and kill something important. I also know that Magic is a high variance game, and maybe they don't have any lands besides this one. I'm just going to pass with Doomblade up, I think. If they miss their land drop or something, we'll Doomblade the birds at end of turn. Shardless Agent. Okay. What's that find? They don't have any colored mana. Okay. Lannis. I think we killed the Lannis. It is tempting to kill the Bop because they don't have Shardless, or because they don't have colored mana except for the Bop, but I think in this game in particular, it's going to be important to just slow them down. Like, next turn, if they were to go Forest Academy Manufacturer, that would be disastrous for us. Notably, Glissa is a green creature, so this Argoth is going to be untapped next turn. Feeling good about not killing the Birds of Paradise here. Oh, wow. Okay. They have a removal spell for my Glissa? Yikes. Well, I guess that's a removal spell that's not pointed at my Chatterfang. I'm going to Wayfinder in the hopes of finding an untapped land. Rip. Okay. Hogaak is nice, though, and we'll be able to do that next turn. And it looks like opponent didn't have that much going on last turn, so hopefully this will just work. I don't know what opponent is holding up here. Okay, well, surely we can't miss on Satyr Wayfinder twice in a row, says Local Man, missing on Satyr Wayfinder twice in a row. So we'll draw a card with the clue. Okay, there's the land. Here's a Hogaak. What am I keeping? Don't need the Sunslayer. I do want the Shilgengar still in there. I don't need the redundant Chatterfang. Okay, cool. Yeah, and looking back at the decision to Doomblade the Llanowar, this game would be very different if I had let them draw a card from this Shardless Agent entering. I mean, definitely not an unbeatable spot. Oh my god, they... Okay. Well, that makes me... That is something that I'm very happy to see. Oh, also Talara's Battalion. Nice. So now what do? I think we just play Chatterfang Talara's Battalion and flashback the Gaak. Alright, Shilgengar. See ya. And then next turn, because we have the Chatterfang in play, we can Nature's Rhythm for Soultrader and just kill them if they don't have anything. Which it looks like they don't. Play our land first. Bong. And even if they have a third Fateful Absence for our Chatterfang, what we can do is we can sacrifice the Wayfinder and then pay a mana to cast the Chatterfang from hand. Okay, opponent says that's it. Alright, GG's opponent. I'll see the rest of y'all in the next round. Alright, here we are back for round 2 of the Penny Dreadful Kickoff. I have skillfully won the die roll, and I think I will keep this hand. It doesn't do anything by itself, however, Fanatic of Rhonas into double Town Greeter casts Hogaak, and that should be pretty good against most of the lowest decks. I think opponents on scales, but might be humans, might be legends. We'll find out. Either way, being on the play is generally quite good versus Lurrus. Forest means it is scales. That's not what we wanted to see, but you know, we have a 1/4 blocker. Your move, Yugi boy. That's also not what we wanted to see. Game 1 not looking good here. Gotta draw something. Nope. Okay, maybe we can flip something off of this Town Greeter. Don't need any more lands, so we just leave those right where they're at. There could be an argument. So one thing about Teething Wormlet is it does get Death Touch when they have 3 artifacts. So if they play like an Arcbound Worker and attack, then they will be able to give it Death Touch. Oh, okay, it just has Death Touch. There could be an argument for blocking with the Fanatic of Rhonas and then flashing it back next turn, but I think if we don't draw anything, we're probably dead anyway, so I think we just take the 3 in the hopes that we draw like a Nature's Rhythm. Bhed Salvagers is not exactly what I was looking for, but it does let us cast one of these Hogaaks, so... Of course, if they have a Ravager and a Scales, then it doesn't actually matter, but, you know, we've got good sideboard cards for this matchup. So there's a question here of, do we block, and if yes, what do we block? I think we gotta block something. I think I want to block one of these modular 4/4s because if we block the Death Toucher, it dies. Or our Hogaak dies. Infinite mana. What do we get? Soultrader's not bad. It's half of the combo. And like, we've got enough jump blocking fodder that we can survive a little bit, unless, of course, well, okay, we get one more turn if they have nothing, because they get to activate the Blink Moth, activate the Steel Overseer, and then get in with the Blink Moth for 3, and then for 5. I'll just auto-yield here. If they attack with everything, then we probably... we probably chump block 2 things. Because next turn, drawing Rhythm is lethal anyway. And... oh, okay. Well, now we have to block everything. So might as well block here and here and yeah. And here. Yeah, and then if we draw Chatterfang or Nature's Rhythm next turn, we're good. This does remove the out of like Town Greeter into Flashback in Nature's Rhythm, but if we don't block everything, then we lose anyway. So make the play that doesn't lose. Okay, well, in making the play that does not lose, we did in fact win. Go us. And we conveniently just have this Bhed Salvagers in play, so they are just dead. Thank you, deck, for being cooperative this time. I appreciate you. And then we'll just go ahead and flashback this Fanatic of Rhonas, I think. Make some more Squirrel tokens, put some distance in between the cards that we shouldn't sacrifice and the cards that we can sacrifice. Okay, cool. Game 1 was looking a little dicey there, but we got there in the end. Against their deck, I want the Doomblades, I want the Phyrexian Revoker, I want the Scrapshooters. What do we not want? Grist is fine as a blocker for their giant guys. Terastodon is bad. Kogla is pretty good. Kogla is fine. Terastodon's okay if it hits all of their hardened scales effects. I think we can trim a Nightmare. Maybe 2 Nightmares. Is 4 Scrapshooter too much? It might be. I think given that we have the 4 Scrapshooters, we can take out the Talara's Battalion because we just have enough natural 4 power creatures. Sunslayer is cute. I think we keep it. And then Hogaak's such a good blocker, but I think we trim it. Because Scrapshooter is also a very good blocker. Oh, it occurs to me in that last game I should have sacrificed my my chump blocking creatures. That would have turned on Nature's Rhythm if we drew it. Or if we milled into it. Well, better lucky than good. something to think about for next time. All right, this hand is great. We've got a town greeter to find our third land and a couple Scrapshooters to murder their stuff. Still being on the draw, we might not be fast enough, depending on what they have. Chatterfang also very good here. So we do have the full combo in hand if we live to find the mana to cast it. Second Wayfinder is nice. I'm going to play the Greeter first because sometimes these decks play Wheel of Sun and Moon, and if they play a wheel on me, I want to be able to get land. Notably, Greeter mills the land first, whereas the Wayfinder just reveals the cards. I think we don't block here. This is going to get bigger next turn anyway, so. How crazy is it to not play the Scrapshooter here? It's too crazy. I think we play the Scrapshooter, we give the opponent a card, but we get to blow up the Ozolith, and I think the Ozolith is the biggest way that we lose this game. And then if they go in on this other Ozolith, then it's fine, we've got another Scrapshooter for it. Also just chump blockers. I don't like this card in Scales. Yes, it means your creatures, you no longer need to care so much about removal spells, but it doesn't goldfish, right? Like it doesn't increase your kill pace. If this card were a synchronized charge, I would be in much more trouble here. Granted, you know, this format is a bit slower. It doesn't necessarily care so much about goldfishing. So the Scales players have played many more games of Scales than I have, so I will defer to them. I'm going to chump block here and just keep my life total high, question mark. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so good for us that they're drawing Lurrus here. Like, they don't even have anything in the graveyard to get. So now what do I do? If I go Chatterfang, next turn I can just rip a land and cast the Nature's Rhythm. I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to cast 2 Wayfinders and convoke a Hogaak. Then I'm pretty happy trading the... I'll take Twilight Mire here. This matchup's not about grinding. Then I'm pretty happy trading the Hogaak for the Teething Wormland. And if the only thing they do next turn is cast a Lurrus, I am quite happy. We'll just eat all of the lands out of the yard. We don't have any way to recur the Nightmare. And this sets me up nicely to actually combo next turn if none of my creatures die. Well, if none of my non-Hogaak creatures die, because, like, Hogaak dying is nothing. We have 5 more cards in the graveyard. Like, next turn I can go Nature's Rhythm for Warren Soultrader. And then, I guess I don't have a payoff. Oh wait, no, I have a payoff. I have the flashback on the Nature's Rhythm. Hopefully they just play like another creature here. If they attack, I'm more than happy to block with my Hogaak. Okay, sure. Did I mention I don't like this card in Scales? This is the Desperation attack. We'll just block and kill the things. This doesn't have Death Touch. They don't have enough artifacts. And yes, they can get a giant creature next turn, but they don't get a next turn. Because we get to go Nature's Rhythm X equals 3 for Soultrader. And then we get to sack 3 creatures to cast the Chatterfang. And then let's just make sure that I have enough life to play with. I do, okay. Because it'll be 3 to cast Chatterfang and 4 to cast Rhythm. So this works. 1, 2, and then just because I feel like it, I'm going to convoke out the Hogaak. As long as we don't exile the Nature's Rhythm, we should be good here. 3. Here's a Chatterfang. And then we just go off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast Nature's Rhythm. We'll tap the Hogaak. Just double checking. Okay, yep, it's still in my deck. I have lost some games in testing to doing the Nature's Rhythm thing because I didn't realize that the Scavengers was in exile. Okay, cool. GG's opponent. I'll see the rest of y'all next round. Alright, and here we are for the next round of the Penny Dreadful Kickoff for Season 38. This hand, I think I'll go ahead and keep it. I'm not too excited about it, but we can go Town Greeter into Nature's Rhythm. Maybe we play the Scrapshooter. We'll see. Cynic Temple. Oh, Nightmare is very good to pair with the Greeter. I think I'll play the Twilight Mire. Nightmare also good if we find a Grist. Let's just start here. And by find a Grist, I mean we can tutor up a Grist from the Nature's Rhythm. Finding Chatterfang's pretty good. I might do that next turn. I don't see a Hogaak in here, so we'll just pick up the Swamp. Discovery, huh? See the Truth. Okay, this implies that they're playing Cascade of some form. Terastodon, I would rather that be in my deck than in my hand, but, you know, beggars and choosers and all that. Okay, so we have some options here. I think we start by attacking. Bonk. And then I might play this. So we can Nightmare back another Town Greeter. We can Nature's Rhythm for a Grist. We can Nightmare back the Chatterfang. We can play a Scrapshooter. I kind of like just rhythming for the Grist, and the next turn we can double Nightmare. Yeah, next turn we can double Nightmare or Nightmare once and flip the Grist. Oh, okay, they're on prayers. Uh-oh. I'm in danger. Okay. How do we beat prayers? Well, it's not by flipping a Grist, that's for sure. It would be really nice to have this Terastodon in the deck. Let's start by playing a Satyr Wayfinder, I think. Okay, there's a Hogaak. There's a Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard. I think we leave the land in the yard. And then what we can do is Nightmare back the Fanatic, maybe? Well, we're definitely casting this Hogaak, so let's start there. Like I said before, I don't think we can flip the Grist. Like, the way that we win this game is by comboing, not by... Okay, we got options here. I think I want to get the Fanatic of Rhonas just so that we have a million mana next turn. Like, if they don't kill us this turn, then we can Terastodon them, potentially. Although, we could also just win. We'll see. Like, if they just go Primal Prayers here, they will win. The fact that they're waiting means that hopefully they don't have it. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out. If y'all are wondering what the Primal Prayers deck does and looks like, that's actually a video that I published a little while back, so you can take a look at that one. I'll link to it here if I figure out how to do that. In the meantime, we wait for our opponent to figure out what they want to do next. Okay. Opponent has bounced our guy, but it doesn't matter because we drew a Warren Soultrader. I love this deck. Oh my god. Okay, so what we can do now is we can go tap you, tap you, tap you, play Soultrader, sacrifice two things. We'll do this one and this one. Flashback Nature's Rhythm, tapping the Warren Soultrader. Pay green, green, green. And then we do need a payoff here, but Nightmare lets us loop Wayfinders until we find it, or we find a Nature's Rhythm. So I think we should be okay. Boing. One Chatterfang, please. And now we get a miniature channel. Poink. And if we do end up needing more creatures, we have this Hogaak in the graveyard that I'll just go ahead and convoke out now, because why not? Don't need the other Chatterfang, don't need the Glissa, don't need the Fanatic. We might want the Grist. I don't know, don't ask me why. So we're looking for our Blood Artist here, or a Nature's Rhythm. And the loop with Chthonian Nightmare is we just get to keep going. We pay 2 life to mill 4 cards, basically. Because when we bring back the Wayfinder, we can sack it to make a creature. And when we the Nightmare needs a creature, but we have a creature, and then we'll need an additional creature. Alright, I don't think I need to explain it. You know what's going on. Okay. Shilgengar also works. That lets us reanimate our entire graveyard. And gives us infinite blood tokens. So let's do that. We'll sacrifice you, and because we've been generating energy with this Chthonian Nightmare, we get to bring it back for free, basically. So we'll sacrifice you. Okay, so now we get infinite blood tokens. We will need to pay another couple life to make 3 mana to do our mass reanimation. Also, just Terastodoning all their lands is going to be enough, I think. Okay, so let's start here. We'll discard our Terastodon. Get a Fanatic. How many Satyr Wayfinders do we have in the yard? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that should be enough. We'll pay 3 life. Get 3 mana. Reanimate our graveyard. Yes, please. Okay, alright. Opponent has decided they've had enough. Just reanimating the Terastodon, killing all their lands, and making a giant board will be good enough here. We were about to mill 16 cards, and there's pretty much guaranteed to be a Nature's Rhythm or a Blood Artist. Not the Blood Artist, the Bhed Scavengers guy. In those 16 cards. If it's Nature's Rhythm, then we have to pay 4 life to flash back the Nature's Rhythm. If it's Blood Artist, we pay 2 life to cast the Chthonian Nightmare. Either way, we're going to have at least 1 life left over to kickstart the loop again. Cool. Alright, sideboarding. Hell if I know. I guess Doomblade, probably good. Disfigure doesn't actually kill any of their things. Choking Sands might be fine for slowing them down. I think they're going to have like Scavenging Ooze, probably. So let's cut a Chthonian Nightmare. That's probably wrong. We want the Kogla, we want the Terastodon. Sunslayer, I think, is a bit slow here. Okay, so we'll cut the Sunslayer and a Nightmare. If they show us Phyrexian Revoker post-board, we will bring in the 1-mana removal spells. But for now, I think we just want to be lean, have some removal for their 1/3s, but mostly just focus on killing them as quickly as possible. This hand would be awesome if we had a green land. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it, because if we find a green land in the next couple cards, it is nuts. That's not a green land. Uh-oh, there's a Port Mage. That's also not a green land. Okay, maybe this was a mulligan. Opponent drawing a bunch of cards with their engine. Oof. That's also not a green land. I guess we'll discard the Hogaak because it doesn't matter if it's in our hand or our yard. Not looking good for us. If they just jam prayers here, we do die. Which it looks like it will. So for those of you who haven't seen this before, Greenbelt Rampager costs an energy, but generates an energy. And when it comes out of play, it draws a card with the Dour Port Mage. So what they're going to do here is they're going to loop this until they find a Laboratory Maniac, basically. So they get to draw their deck, and then they win. Cool to see that deck has life still. All right. I won't make him go through it, though. Okie dokie. I could see playing the Choking Sands. Like, they haven't shown us any ramp, and that deck is pretty mana dependent, but I think realistically our best bet for winning this game is just go faster with the occasional Doomblade. Granted, they did have the turn 4 combo, so that hand that we kept would not have been good even if the lands were green anyway. This time we're on the play, so hopefully we just get there. All right, and this hand is basically what I just said, the same hand, but with green lands instead. Also, because we're on the play, I think it'll be fast enough. They could, of course, have their turn 4 combo. But all things going well, this does potentially represent a turn 4 Terastodon, depending on what we draw. Okay, so there's a Chatterfang. I think we need to pick up the land. We'll pick up the Llanowar Wastes because life totals don't really matter in this matchup, except as a resource for Soultrader, and we have the Scavengers in hand anyway. Okay, no play on turn 2 is very good for us. I think we'll just jam the Soultrader next turn. Interesting. The other consideration was Nature's Rhythm for Grist, but I think it's just Soultrader. And then next turn, we can not quite find a Chatterfang off the Nature's Rhythm. Like, we can find the Chatterfang, but we won't have a creature to sacrifice to it. Kitesail Arsonist. That's exciting. Interesting. Okay. Does that change anything? That means we have 5 mana this turn. 5 mana this turn and 4 cards in the yard. Yeah, that changes stuff because we can now Nature's Rhythm for a second Soultrader, sacrifice the Wayfinder, play the Grist, cast a Hogaak, leaving behind a Nature's Rhythm, which lets us do the thing next turn. Alright, so if we do this and they have no other disruption, so we gotta sacrifice the Wayfinder, cast the Grist, cast the Hogaak from hand, importantly because we want to leave the rhythm in the yard. Okay, we present lethal for next turn. I mean, they could prayers and just kill us, but I think that's unlikely. I should not yield through this turn if they... Okay, that's fine. And if they bounce one of my creatures, I want to sacrifice it, probably. That's even better. That means they're probably tapping out. Which means this Nature's Rhythm, like... It could get a Terastodon. It could just win the game. You know, honestly, who knows which is correct? Me, I know which is correct. It's correct to get the Terastodon, but the sweet line is to win the game. So that's what we're going to do. X is currently 3, great. So if we just tap the Hogaak there, then X can be 8 to get the Terastodon. But, you know. And then we'll get our beats in. This just speeds it up a little bit. And then here's the Salvagers. And that's game over. All right, on to the next round. All right, and we're back for round 4. I have skillfully won the die roll versus ChatterGaak, who is playing Metalwork Colossus. Gigantha is a funny one. Yeah, we'll keep this hand. It's got most of the combo. Cloudpost, sure. Not playing the Wayfinder, we just want to develop our mana. Here's a Fanatic. Whoa, okay, sure. Double Cloudpost. They're going to have a lot of mana next turn. What do I want? What's our path to win this game? Our path to win this game is they brick next turn and we draw Nature's Rhythm. Yeah. In that case, we gotta play the Soultrader. We'll get in there for one, just for funsies. If they have the Semblance Anvil to go with their double cloud posts, we are cooked. Yep, there's a Semblance Anvil. Let's see just how cooked we are. We don't die to double Metalwork Colossus. That one is annoying though. The Sleeper Dart does mean that our Fanatic of Rhonas is unlikely to untap. Okay, they just get a second Colossus. Third Colossus, sure. Scrap Trawler. Yep. Alright, so we're going to be doing some chump blocking this turn. Looks like they're fortunately out of gas, so what do we do here? I think we start with the Wayfinder, and then we probably play the Fanatic of Rhonas and plan to double chump. We gotta take the Twilight Mire because we don't control a legendary green creature. Then here's our second Fanatic. What do they draw? Oh, right. There you go. Okay. Good to know, good to know. Forgot that they can make the things not block. But we'll try anyway. Alright. Bonk. Dead. Maybe I should have played the Salvagers and then sacked this Fanatic of Rhonas so that we can gain a little bit of life. Alright. Well, what do we do? Probably the Choking Sands come in. They don't play that many lands. The Scrapshooters are actually not good because the artifacts that we want to kill we have to kill immediately. We don't really have great sideboard cards for this matchup, I think. Probably cut a Nightmare. Terastodon's great. Kogla's fine. Tricky. Grist is great if we can flip it. I think... So they're playing mostly colorless that we've seen so far. Usually the colorless deck's only graveyard hate is the Silent Gravestone, which is still not great. In terms of graveyard hate, it just shuts down the Chthonian Nightmare. So I think what I'm going to do is keep all of my Hogaaks in and just cut these two cards and maybe a Satyr Wayfinder. Yep. And then maybe we just choke them out. I notably would not bring in these Choking Sands on the draw. Okay, this hand, it's fine. It's like turn 5 combo, probably too slow. Mulligan. This hand only has one land. It would be great if we had more than one land. Oh no. Okay, 4 we go. All right, well, if I were to pick a hand, if I were to like select a hand from the available cards, I would probably pick this hand. Town Greeter, Chthonian Nightmare. Good. Okay, yeah, actually, wow, this is great, because now we get to Chthonian Nightmare back the Grist, flip it, kill an artifact if they play it, and start making 1/1s if they don't. There's an egg. Okay, now we actually do have some interesting choices here because we can either play the Nightmare or like Nightmare get back Grist or Town Greeter play Hogaak. If we Town Greeter play Hogaak, yeah, I think either line would be fine. I'm going to take this line just because I want an onboard thing. Like next turn we'll be able to... This enables us to do a better job of potentially winning next turn. Because we'll have 2 creatures in play. Oh, that's so good for us. Tap land here. Sure, you got a mortar pod. Yep. Ooh, Warren Soultrader. More decisions. Can we win this turn? What does that look like? We go Soultrader plus make a mana. Nope, not quite. I think we're always plussing here. I don't want to kill either of these 2 artifacts. How about that? We can go Town Greeter, Nightmare back Soultrader. Yeah, still not quite enough. That does... Oh, maybe. Maybe. Let's first see what we hit here. Oh, brutal. Okay, all right. That's fine. Oh, wait, no, this is fine because we have the Hogaak. Okay. Okay, and then Hogaak lets us Nightmare back the Soultrader. Soultrader or Chatterfang? Or Greeter? I think we go Soultrader, and then we sack the Greeter. Can we do this? We sack 2 more, we get 2 more treasures, we play the Nightmare. We don't have enough creatures because 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, not quite. Next turn. They could, of course, kill us this turn. Like, they have the Sacrifice Outlet. They just need the Semblance Anvil. Suplex. Sure. Do I want to make some treasures? I kind of want to make some treasures. Yeah. Because we go plus Soultrader, Nightmare. Yeah, okay, this is fine. Okay, and there's our payoff. Lovely. Attack first, just because why not? So kind of a funny thing here, if we ultimate the Grist, we do have the potential to just kill them. Okay, and then here's a Nightmare. And then might as well convoke the Gaak. Don't need this guy, or this guy. And then we get to bring back our stuff. Sure, we'll grab an Argoth. Why not? Free mana. Okay, and then we don't need any more lands, but they might be useful for blood tokens later. Actually, no, let's just leave them in the graveyard because... Okay, alright, opponent not waiting around to find out what happens. They know that we can pay 2 life to mill 4 cards. Eventually we're going to find our payoff and or Terastodon. You know, I would accept milling over a Terastodon and just murdering all of their lands also. Okay, so on the draw, I think Choking Sands is much worse. They didn't have any hate for the Nightmare, so I think we bring that back in. I think we bring a Scrapshooter back in. Red means they're probably playing the Goblin Engineer, so we'll bring in a Disfigure, maybe 2 Disfigures. Would I rather have Disfigure or Doomblade? Probably Doomblade, because Doomblade kills the Colossus. And Scrapshooter is just okay in the matchup, I think. Alright, this is fine. Alright, game 3. These have been some sweet matches so far. Oh my gosh. Like, generally speaking, I can tell whether a match is good or not based on how tired I am afterwards. A lot of interesting decision points. Alright, I'll come back when Empty Geo figures out its shit. Alright, now Moto has figured its stuff out. We had to reset there to get the match back. This hand, not really proactive. I think we got a mulligan. Also no black mana for our reactive cards, so pretty easy mulligan here. Oh man. This hand, I think we also have to throw back. Like, it would be really good, we have the double Wayfinder, but it's too risky that we don't find a land in our first 2 cards. Like, we only have 21 lands in the deck, now 20. So we're not even expected value to get this stuff. Okay, this hand is fine. We'll put back Terastodon, redundant Chthonian Nightmare, and hope that turn 2 Nightmare, turn 3 Grist does literally anything. Okay, there's a Guild Globe. Here's a Nightmare. Call me crazy, but I might want to hold the Rhythm until turn 4 so that we can get a Satyr Wayfinder with it. be really nice if we drew something that's not a Hogaak there, but you know, beggars and choosers and all that. Fortunately, opponent missing land drops. Okay, that's less good for us. That means we're on a pretty quick clock here because they can get back the Semblance Anvil next turn. And if they were missing land drops, their hand is going to be pretty nuts. Okay, so now what do we do? I guess it might have been smart to put the Phyrexian Revoker in if we thought that they were playing Goblin Engineers so that we could needle the Engineer. That said, I think this is the best we can do, probably. Okay, so here's a question. If we don't take the lands, do we get to bring back the Soultrader and then cast a Hogaak next turn? I don't think so. I also don't think that we're going to make another land drop this game, basically. So what we gotta do is figure out how to most efficiently use our Nightmare. I think it is crazy to just not use it here, because if they kill our guy, it's such a blowout. So what I'm going to do is instead I'll bring back the Soultrader, and that gives us room to combo, question mark? I don't think it does, but threatening the combo also good. Oh, I guess next turn what we can do, yeah, okay, they have a Semblance Anvil with a handful of artifacts. So we are probably dying here. Let's find out. So they're going to make 30 power here. Do they have a sacrifice outlet? 40 power, even better. Blue mana? What's the blue mana for? I mean, it could just be that... Oh, okay, gotcha. Alright, well, they did kill our thing. They've got 40 power in play. I think we're dead. Alright, well, GG's. If we hadn't Nightmared there, we might be able to, like, Fanatic, get back Soultrader, but yeah. Okay, cool. We'll get him next time. Alright, next round, here we come. Alright, here we are for round 5, and this hand is great. We're gonna go Town Greeter into Satyr Wayfinder into Hogaak. See what opponent is playing. Bop, sure. Nightmare is also a good draw. That means that we have to be a little careful about what we exile with this Hogaak, because if we find a Chatterfang, then we should be able to win on turn 4, I think. We'll see what we hit off the first Greeter. Looks like opponent is playing Kinnan combo. However, opponent has also missed land drops. What do we take here? If we take Argoth, we're forced to play Hogaak next turn because we can't cast the Soultrader. So I think we just grab Swamp. Okay, they found their second land. If they have a cannon here, they're going to generate so much mana. Just a Bloom Tender. Okay. The good news is post-sideboard, this matchup I think is very good for us. Just by virtue of the fact that we have a lot of removal on the board, and they're playing a bunch of stuff that dies to our 1-mana removal spells. And they also need a critical mass of creatures in order to actually combo. Okay, so this is probably Nature's Rhythm for Cannon, which means we do need to kill them next turn. Hopefully they tap out. I know some decks play counterspells. Tyvar, sure. Okay, that means that they can untap the Bloom Tender. Six mana, but not enough green to flash back the Nature's Rhythm. Curious to see what they have here. Okay, just an Eldamri. Sure. With some mana floating. Okay. So they're tapped out. If we find a Squirrel, they're dead. Okay, cool. Well, somewhat anticlimactic, but it is what it is. Okay, nope. We want to sacrifice our Town Greeter. I'll go ahead and play one of these Wayfinders from hand. Just minimize our life loss. If this finds a Blood Artist, we kill them on the spot. If it finds a Nature's Rhythm, we kill them on the spot. If it doesn't find either, we keep digging. Sure, we'll grab a forest, why not? Actually, no, we don't need to make any more land drops this game. We leave all the stuff in the yard so that we can use Hogaak for mana. Boop, here's the Hogaak. Sack the Wayfarer. Sack the Squirrel. Hogaak, sure. Play Nightmare. Get back Wayfinder. And there's a Blood Artist, so the game has ended. Boop. All right, so we'll see if opponent makes us click through it. Cool. All right, to sideboarding we go. Winning game one is pretty big here because we get to bring in Disfigured, Fume Spitter, Doomblade, etc. What are we taking out? Probably most of the nightmares. They're going to have like Scavenging Ooze. We'll take out 3 nightmares, keep in the Kogla. I think we take out Shilgengar, one of the Hogaaks, and a Soultrader, I think. Nah, we'll trim a Scrapshooter. We'll keep the Soultrader in and bring in Phyrexian Revoker. Okay. I'm just kind of winging it here. I'm not going to think about it too much. We should probably cut the Sunslayer for something else, but if our plan is to transition into more of a Golgari rock, Sunslayer is actually not that bad. Fume Spitter's great, 1 mana removal spell that we can deploy proactively. And then, of course, we get to go Fanatic into double Wayfinder into, like, potentially a Hogaak. We'll see. Killing the birds. Pretty simple. Just to slow them down a bit. If they play another Mana Dork, I might just revoke it. Okay, sure. You have a Revoker of your own. Okay, so that cuts off the combo until we find a removal spell for the Revoker, but fortunately that's not too hard for us. If they have Graveyard Hate, we could be in a bit of trouble here, but with our triple Wayfinder, I am not too concerned. Is this a Scrapshooter? That would be pretty funny. Nature's Rhythm for a bop, sure. So, like, they can flash it back to get a cannon, but again, not too worried. Hogaak? No land, that's awkward. Okay. Also, milling the Terastodon is bad. We don't have a way to get the Terastodon back. Okay. It's fine. I'm sure everything's going to be fine. Eldamri, sure. Would love to see a Doomblade. I think it's also fine to... Ooh, Chatterfang is interesting. Let's see. I think we start here, because, again, if we find a Hogaak, then this Fanatic of Rhonas taps for 1,000,000 mana. I'm going to grab the Forest here and just cast another Wayfinder. I would like to find a Hogaak and tap for 1,000,000 mana. Please. That's what I get for cutting my Hogaak. That's okay. We have enough stuff. I think we'll be fine. Like, next turn, we can go get a Talara's Battalion or something. Revoker, maybe on Fanatic. On Nightmare, I see. Is this going to put a Hullbreaker Horror in? Maybe I should have revoked it. Sarah's Emissary. All right. Do I have a way to beat that? Oh yeah, I've got my Doomblades, right. We do need to, however, not die to it. And we need to draw cards. So how do we do those things? Okay, well, it's too bad we cut the Shilgengar, because that would actually be quite good here with the Chatterfang. Like, we could play the Chatterfang, do some stuff. I think what we want to do for now is just Rhythm for a Talara's Battalion and then Flashback Rhythm for a 5-drop question mark? Yeah, sure. I guess we could get Town Greater and hope to hit one of our other Hogaaks. That's a little sketchy though. So let's just do this. I think I'm actually going to just flashback the Fanatic of Rhonas. Terastodon's in the yard. I might be dead here. Shilgengar would have been really good. One, 2, 5, 6, 7, 14. Okay, so they can hit us for 14 here. So we kind of need to draw Doomblade next turn. We do have enough mana to do that. Okay, so definitely glad we brought the Doomblades in, both for Sarah's Emissary, and if we kill the Eldamri first, then it doesn't matter. Oh, they get to get a Hullbreaker forward here with the Nature's Rhythm. I guess second Sarah's Emissary would be annoying. That one's fine. We're still in Doomblade or Bust territory, I think. Opponent's deck is sweet. Scavenging Ooze, but with no mana up. Rats. Cool. Alright, GG opponent. Okay, so they do have... Oh, this other Disfigure should have been in there. I think I'll keep the Shilgengar in now that we've seen they have the Sarah's Emissary. Given that they're pretty aggressively Nightmare, or like revoking the Nightmare, I might... Nah, it's probably still fine to keep it in. Especially since we've got a Scrapshooter. I might cut a Soultrader. Yeah, we've got the Doomblades, we've got the Phyrexian Revoker for their stuff. The Grist will be able to kill Phyrexian Revokers also. I might... Is it crazy to cut the Hogaak? Yeah, it's crazy to cut the Hogaak. Okay. We'll cut the Satyr Wayfinder. If they're leaning on Phyrexian Revoker, I might play another Scrapshooter. Yeah, let's do this. Actually, I think I'm going to cut Talara's Battalion because they're going to have ways to disrupt our Fanatic of Rhonas curves. And Scrapshooter is a 3-mana 4-power creature, so... Okay, we keep this hand. This is a turn 3 Hogaak. Turn 2 Fanatic, turn 3 Hogaak. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. I guess we'll find out. No removal is kind of scary. Like, their deck is pretty explosive. Especially if they get to lead on their birds. Here's a Fanatic. If they go Eldamri next turn, I mean, we may not have a choice in the matter. Okay, all right, Bloom Tender is fine. Here's a Wayfinder. Milling, nothing relevant. We'll leave all those in the yard because I already have enough lands, I don't need more. Argoth, however, I will pick up because that's a great mana sink. Cool. All right, turn 3 Hogaak. Your go. I am, funnily enough, not feeling very confident about this game. Like, they have 6 mana here, not quite enough to activate the cannon. If we mill over a... Nature's Rhythm for 4. Finds like a Varus thingy? Yeah, okay. Yaris. Okay, another land. Not really what we wanted to draw. So we gotta activate here. Fanatic of Rhonas. Alright, well. Smickety smack. What you got? They get to activate their cannon. Bloom Tender is a reroll. There's a Horror, but they don't have any more mana left over. So we do have a turn here. They have a Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard, so they'll be able to kick off their combo next turn. They'll also be able to find a cannon if we kill it. So I think... What's our best bet here? Our best bet is Town Greeter, mill Nature's Rhythm. Mill like 2 Nature's Rhythms. So if we find the first Nature's Rhythm, rats. Yeah, nothing. Okay. Well, GG's opponent. I mean, we'll attack. Maybe they have to block with something relevant. I don't think they do, though. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Cool. That means they have another one in hand, right? I guess they get to... Alright, so for those who haven't seen, this is the combo. All of their mana dorks have haste. All of their mana dorks tap for more mana than they need to be cast. Hullbreaker Horror, whenever they cast a spell, they pick up a creature. So what they're going to do here is loop Bloom Tender until they have enough mana to activate Kinnan infinitely many times to put their other Hullbreaker Horrors and friends into play. Once they have 2 Hullbreaker Horrors, they can start looping the Bloom Tender and also looping and also bouncing my blockers. So that's what they're going to do. They'll probably show a Kinnan activation here. Okay, so now they've activated Kinnan, they get to put a Scavenger Ooze in play, but then they get to keep doing this as many times as they want. So they'll get all of the non-human creatures out of their deck and eventually kill us. Cool. All right. I love the variety in this format. Anyways, I'll see the rest of y'all in round 6. All right, and we're back for round 6. If I win this, there's a possibility that we make top 8. If I don't win this, probably not. Well, actually, definitely not making top 8. But you'll still see this video because, I don't know, I think this tournament was really fun, and I want to share it with you. Okay, cool. As far as this hand, we've got Aluris. I think Resto Kiki was one of the people that was hardlining Scales. This hand is pretty good against Scales, actually. We get to go Fanatic into Scrapshooter. Keep, and then, like, Shilgengar. It's not a conventional hand for this deck by any means, but it is, I think, going to be good against Scales. Another land here is nice. If we find like a Satyr Wayfinder or something, then we can cast it off of the Fanatic. Black Scales. That's interesting. Perfect. Okay, so let's go give to Scrapshooter, choose you, kill your Steel Overseer, cast a Town Greeter, do we want to pick up a land? I think yes. So what are we doing next turn is the question. We're definitely flashing back this Nature's Rhythm. I have the Shilgengar in hand, so yeah, I don't think we're casting a Hogaak. I think we're just going to pick up the land. We'll see what we draw next turn. If we Nature's Rhythm for Terastodon and just blow up all their lands, I don't think there's a way they can win. Okay, Wayfinder is nice. We'll play this land. How much mana do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think we go Wayfinder into Hogaak. Yeah, sure, we can grab an Argoth. That gives us inevitability. It does mean we have to eat our... I guess we don't have to eat all of our Fanatics. Then we get to Nature's Rhythm, convoking the Gaak. Get Terastodon, blow up their lands. I don't think they really have a way to win after this. Of course, if they go like... If they just have a bunch of lands in hand, we could be in trouble, but our board is so big, it's going to be hard to lose. Especially if they didn't attack this turn. Cool. Alright, well we have a legendary green creature, so let's go ahead and play this Argoth. Stonecoil Serpent has protection. I don't think we really care about that. I do want to cast the Shilgengar this turn, so let's just start there and then see what we want to do after that. Like, we can reanimate our entire board. This turn, actually, like we go sacrifice, 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 sacrifice. That's 6. And then we make black, 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 black. Do we want to reanimate our entire board? Sure, sounds sweet. I do wish I had Chatterfanged, though. Let's start by attacking with both of our giant guys. Okay, well, if they block like that, I'm happy to just kill some elephants, and then, like, their Ozolith gets a little bit bigger. Like, if they do that, then I'm happy to cast the Wayfinder and just recast the Hogaak. Do have to be a little careful about the Stonecoil Serpent. It's going to be a 7/7 with protection from multicolored. Do I cast the Wayfinder or do I... just make more mana for next turn? I think I cast the Wayfinder. Oh, that's a lot of nightmares. Cool. Pass. Sure, you have a second Stonecoil Serpent. You have a large second Stonecoil Serpent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could make some blood and loot. Yeah, let's do that. Because we get at least one cast of the Hogaak next turn. Okay, well there's a Soultrader. Don't need to loot anymore. There's another Soultrader. I think we start by playing a Soultrader. And then we just feed our entire board to the Shilgengar, bring back all of our stuff, including a bunch of Wayfinders. How many creatures do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is perfectly enough. I guess if we play the Soultrader, we can get a treasure too, but I'd rather have the mana. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tap you for black, black. this is going to dump a bunch of creatures in our graveyard. If we find a Nature's Rhythm, then we do win. Just for good measure, oh, we gotta pick this one. Just for good measure, we'll blow up all their stuff. Yeah, sure, we'll grab an Argoth too. Chatterfang. Does that do it? Because we can... Yeah, I think that does it, right? Like, okay, there's a Nature's Rhythm. And just to double check... Okay. Yes, use Terastodon's ability. So we've got one Chatterfang in the yard, we've got one Chatterfang in exile, which means we have another Chatterfang in the deck. So now what we can do is... I mean, they're just dead. At this point, it's just finding the most efficient way to combo kill them. So we'll sacrifice you. We will flash back the Nature's Rhythm. Tap the Scrapshooter. Find Chatterfang. Start sacking things. Make a bunch of blood. Start looting through our deck. I guess we could just reanimate the rest of the things, right? And then... Yeah, because there's like 2 more Satyr Wayfinders in there. There's a Kogla. Oh, 3 more Satyr Wayfinders. Never mind. Okay, so let's do that. Oh my gosh, that's so many Grist triggers. Oh no. Okay. Oh, okay. Alright. Cool. Alright, sideboarding pretty straightforward. Scrapshooters come in, Doomblades come in, Revoker comes in. What goes out? Battalion comes out. I know Terastodon looked good there, but it's generally not great in this matchup. We just don't really need that sort of effect. 1/2 Death Touch, pretty good. We'll take out a Nightmare. We'll take out... the Sunslayer, because... nah, Sunslayer's still pretty good. Well, we'll just trim on the edges. So, Begone, Town Greeter. Actually, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. This hand's great. We've got a removal spell. We've got a Fanatic. We've got a mill card. And we've got a Nature's Rhythm. Plus, Blood Artist in hand. Not as good as Blood Artist not in hand and, like, being able to find it from the deck, but, like, it's... makes the combo faster, for sure. It's fun that we got to see a game where Shilgengar popped off. Alright, so I could play the Fanatic here, but I think I need to kill the Overseer. I say as I draw a Scrapshooter that can kill the Overseer and make a 4/4 blocker. Which means Fanatic it is. Like if we draw land next turn and they don't do too much, then we can Scrapshooter, kill the Overseer, play 2 Town Greeters, maybe get back a Hogaak. And they don't even have a scales effect, so like, we're chillin'. Hogaak, you say? Can I take a turn off to play this Scrapshooter? Dangerous, but I think so. Like, if it's so good for us if we find a land off this Greeters. Untapped land? Yes. Okay, thank you. And we play the Forest, we play the other Greeters, we can invoke out a Hogaak. We could die to a Ravager, but a little unfortunate that we missed that land. Okay, well, with Shilgengar in the yard, I don't think we have any way to get it back again, so we'll just eat all of the things that are not combo pieces in case we draw Nightmare. And then next turn, we can Nature's Rhythm for something good. Ravager does not mean we're dead, actually, because they... Yeah, they just don't have enough power. Okay, cool. Do we block the Wormlet? Are we dead? So they activate. This goes to a 3, this goes to a 3. They sack. This goes to a 3. They sack. This goes to a 4. This goes to a 6. I think we block because it's mostly free. And then next turn we can Scrapshooter, kill the Steel Overseer. Hold up Doomblade. Land here is lovely. I'm going to kill the Ravager. Like, that's the scary one. And then actually, I think I'm going to Rhythm for Warren Soultrader. Because that lets us still keep up the Doomblade. And it means we combo next turn. So we're probably going to take 6 from the Stone Coil. Hanger back, not a problem. Just with the worker, huh? All right. I'll block. And I'll eat it. Okay, well, opponent's dead. GG's. This seems like a really bad matchup for them. There's a Chatterfang, here's a Blood Artist. they're dead. Alright, GG's opponent. I'll see you in the top 8 maybe, and if not, I'll see you in the wrap-up. Alright, here we are back for top 8 of the Penny Dreadful Season 38 Kickoff. This hand would be awesome if it had a black source, because we would just be one Squirrel away from winning. As it is, I think we have to ship it back. We're fighting Tigrak again on the Metalwork Colossus deck. This hand has no lands, obviously put it back. This hand's pretty good. We're going to pitch the Kogla and this redundant land. I think this matchup is pretty bad for us. Our best bet is either Terastodon, blow up all our lands after hitting land drops, or a quick combo. The earliest we can combo, however, is turn 4. So I think it's unlikely that we're going to be faster than them. Okay, yeah, they've got a Goblin Engineer for Semblance Anvil, so this is going to be tough. They do need an untapped land. Okay, what did we mill? Nothing too consequential. Excuse me? Lunatic Pandora, huh? Destroy a non-land permanent. You got it. Okay, so now we find out how many Metalwork Colossi they have in their hand. Okay, it's a land. And 0 Metalwork Colossi. That's pretty good for us. What am I doing? I think I'm just playing these scavengers. I could rhythm for a Grist, but I don't think that that's going to be very good here. Instead, I'll play the Scavengers, and next turn I might play the Hogaak. I don't want to attack here. If they Sleeper Dart me, then I don't get to play the Hogaak. Okay, so there's the Goblin Engineer. The Goblin Engineer finds a Metalwork Colossus, which they can get back by sacrificing 2 of their artifacts, and then I think they have enough to replay it. They may get something else, like if they have a chainsaw to kill the Elbed Scavengers or Salvagers, that would be mildly annoying. They get the scrap trawler so that they can start recycling. That makes sense. Oh, that's kind of funny. They can sacrifice the Elsewhere Flask right now to get back the Pandora and play it. I don't know if they'll see the line, but it's a fun one. What a pretty mountain. Ooh. Okay, so now what? We drew a Grist. I don't think that really changes anything. I think we still just Nature's Rhythm for 2. We can get... Fanatic of Rhonas. So we're definitely doing this. What are we getting is the question. I think we get Fanatic of Rhonas. We cast Hogaak. And then next turn we Terastodon away the Semblance Anvil in like the 2 red sources. Notably, if we take this line, they are going to be able to keep the Fanatic tapped with their Sleeper Dart, which I think is okay. It does, however, take us off of the ability to flashback. So I think we just get the Town Greeter. Hope to get a green land. That's a green land. Oh, that's actually... okay, we can't play it this turn. But we can now Hogaak. Hogaak. Nightmare. Wayfinder. Battalion. And then next turn, we get to get a Terastodon, or maybe something else. We'll see. Probably not a Terastodon, because their Semblance Anvil is still in play. And they can get it back into play with the Engineers. They are going to draw a lot of cards here. Okay, that means we're dead because they can... Okay, cool. So I think for educational purposes, I'll let them loop their deck while I explain the combo. So basically, this card, Scrap Trawler, says whenever you have a thing die, you get it back. Metalwork Colossus is an 11 mana card. Or sorry, Scrap Trawler gets a smaller thing back when something dies. So Colossus is bigger than basically everything. However, Colossus also can sacrifice 2 artifacts to bring itself back from the graveyard into their hand. It's free though, because it gets discounted for all of their non-creatures. So there are 2 ways to win from here. Once you have a Metalwork in the yard, a Scrap Trawler in play, and a Colossus in play, you use the Colossus to sacrifice a Colossus and some payoff. Sacrificing the 2 things returns the Colossus to hand, and then the Colossus on the battlefield dying returns one of the 2 mana artifacts to hand. Using that, you can loop your deck to draw your entire deck, at which point you find a Mortar Pod. Mortar Pod basically says when it enters, you deal 1 damage to anything. So you can do this loop the same way with the Mortar Pod to deal your opponent infinite damage. Of course, this does take a lot of clock. Thus, I could make him play it out. However, ChatterGaak has demonstrated that the loop, it is game over. Alright, GG's, let's go to the next game. Thanks for playing along, ChatterGaak. Okay, sideboarding. I think we just gotta go. Revoker comes in. Revoker can name... Oh! Revoker can name Metalwork Colossus. It does, however, die to the Germ token if they find one. I don't think I want any of the other interactive cards. Like, I think we just gotta go as fast as possible. For that, I think we cut something. Talara's Battalion, let's say. Yep. Okay. We'll get punished if we have a Fanatic with Nature's Rhythm hand, but yeah, we'll see. Easier on the play, of course. Alright, so this hand kind of sucks, but it does have the potential to be very, very good if we draw a Wayfinder. I think we'll go ahead and keep it. I love Magic the Gathering. Okay. Oh no. Okay. I take it back. Everything is terrible. We have 4 lands. We don't need another one. We might want to use this to convoke the Gaak later. Revoker would be really nice. They might turn to kill us here, though. Okay, there's an anvil. Yup. Sure, you got an Eye of Vecna. Mortar Pod, that's rude. That probably kills the Wayfinder. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, we're gonna draw another Wayfinder, I believe. Oh, they have a removal spell. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna draw another Wayfinder, I believe. Oh, we did it. We're probably still dead, but we did it. Okay, so we pick up a swamp, I guess, so that we can activate the Argoth next turn. And then we play the Nightmare. And I think we don't activate the Nightmare. I guess we could activate the Nightmare to get back Revoker and name Mortar Pod so that they can't... No, that's bad. Let's just keep the Nightmare in place so that we can get something back if... Well, I guess... Okay, so here's the problem. Oh, if we get Grist, that would be quite good. For that purpose, we're going to leave the Nightmare in play. However, probably they just have a removal spell, so we're going to die. Opponent's deck is very good if you can't answer the Semblance Anvil. Fortunately for us, they tapped the red source. Oh, okay, never mind. They have a red source here. Scrap Trawler, and they have enough mana to start the loop. They don't currently have enough non-creature artifacts. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Dead. GG's. Oldie but a goodie. All right. See y'all in the wrap-up. Alright, so we got top 8. Deck performed very well. Argoth Sanctum of Nature did not really get to shine there because we played mostly very fast matchups. Notably, the deck that ended up winning the kickoff basically shares all of these cards in common, with the exception of Glissa and Grist for Voracious Larva. Instead, it swaps out the Golgari Aristocrats package for a Gruul Kiki combo package, which I think I also played with that one. Actually built the deck that won. I found it to be a bit less consistent, but a bit faster. And it seems like, for winning purposes, being faster is better than being less consistent, at least in this format, as the metagame evolves. We may see something different. Would I change anything from this list? Anvil Colossus just absolutely rolled us. It was not on my radar. If I wanted to beat that deck, we would probably put some Heritage Reclamation in the sideboard, which is, the new Naturalize effect that is quite, it's like upgraded Naturalize. I'd probably swap out the Doomblades for the Heritage Reclamation. Maybe go like -1 Scrapshooter. Not a lot of Legends being played in this format. The Scrapshooter is good for Legends, and Scrapshooter is also good for the Scales matchup, but we didn't really need the help in the Scales matchup. And Doomblade, Heritage Reclamation, they're effectively the same card versus Hardened Scales. Yeah. I think I've been pretty happy with the deck, pretty happy with the performance. Like I said, I kind of built this deck to be better into the grindy matchups. There's probably a way to play it where it's a bit faster, where you can play Birds of Paradise, Flare of Cultivation. I'll probably explore that a little bit with Shell in the future. For now, man, it's so nice that Forest is actually a playable Magic card in this format. I'm excited to see how the format develops, how it grows, and find the best shell that leverages the Satyr Wayfinder Hogaak Nature's Rhythm, the Fanatic of Rhonas set of cards, because I really think that kind of engine is going to be a powerhouse. Alright, so what are y'all excited to brew over the course of the next season? Let me know in the comments below, and in the meantime, happy brewing!